Constitutional carry in South Carolina. I'm John Henderson with HH Law, and we're going to talk about what is constitutional carry today and what are the new rules in the state of South Carolina. And by the way, this applies to other states as well. Constitutional carry is a trend that has been going across a number of states, and there have been some updates in gun laws in lots and lots of states. South Carolina is one of them. So what is constitutional carry? It simply means that you have a right to carry a firearm without a permit or without doing some sort of licensing program. Formally, in the state of South Carolina, you had a right to have a firearm in your home. You had a right to have a firearm in your office. You had a right to have a firearm in your vehicle, as long as it met certain conditions, that it was stashed away in a locked compartment where you couldn't get to it and that sort of thing. Or if you were coming to or from hunting, there were some exceptions like that. But there was basically, in order to carry it down the street or wherever you wanted, you had to have what's called a concealed weapons permit. This is still the law in lots of states, and it was the law in South Carolina until August of 2024. Then a new law took effect called constitutional carry, and the idea is that everybody should naturally have that right to carry a firearm wherever they are. All right, so I want to go over what the new rules in the state of South Carolina are, and I have a memo here that was issued by SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and also signed by the governor of South Carolina and the chief of SLED. And so I want to go through some of these rules to make sure that we're all on the same page. You and I both understand what's going on with the new rules in the state of South Carolina. How does constitutional carry apply? The first thing to know about this is this takes effect immediately and took effect in August. And so this was issued. And here's what it says. I want you to know from them, not from me, my interpretation of what's going on, but it's important for you to know. So this is what it says. The new law allows individuals over the age of 18 to carry firearms openly or concealed without a permit. That's the first thing to know. Next, that there are no restrictions on guns inside vehicles. As I mentioned before, there used to be restrictions on this, but you could have a gun on the dashboard, you could have a gun in your glove box, wherever you are. There are no restrictions. Further, it says that guns can be stored anywhere inside the vehicle, openly or concealed. Next, the possession of firearm alone is not a reason to stop an individual. So it is not a reason to stop an individual. To make a stop, there must be reasonable and articulable suspicion of a crime has occurred. Law enforcement officers cannot conduct a stop solely because a firearm is visible. Okay. Next is the concealed weapons program, or a concealed weapons holder does not have to tell law enforcement or notify law enforcement that they, in fact, have a gun in their possession. Formally, before this law took effect, if you had a concealed weapons permit, you had to tell law enforcement, hey, I have a firearm in my glove box. I just want you to know about that. You do not have to do that any longer if you have a CWP. The next thing to know about the law is that this does not affect the CWP, concealed weapons program, rules or restrictions or anything like that at all. The program still exists. It's still suggested by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, but it's just that new rules have also come into play as well, but it shouldn't affect that. There is still a restriction on having firearms in certain prohibited locations. Let me read a list of these. This is not a total, complete, comprehensive list, but just to give you an idea, this includes schools, churches, law enforcement facilities, including detention and correctional facilities, anywhere medical procedures are performed, courthouses, public buildings, and any clearly marked sign prohibiting the carrying of a firearm. The big thing here is that here at our law office, if we decided that we didn't want anybody to have firearms on the premises, we could put a sign up telling people no firearms. They would have to abide by that and leave whatever firearms they have in their truck or in their car. So you still have the ability to do that. And then it says that anybody over the age of 18 has the ability to apply for a concealed weapons permit. but those rules extend down to the age of 18 now. Formerly, it was an older age. There are more rules involved with the new constitutional carry rules as well. We're not going to go into each and every one, but just to give you an idea that they've allocated money for training programs through this legislation as well, that they also have stiffened the penalties. For example, if you are a felon and you are in the possession of a firearm and you have certain types of felonies on your record, you are not allowed to have firearms. And they've really stiffened the penalties on this. So if you're convicted of a crime that is classified as a felony and doesn't meet one of the exceptions under the law, then they are really putting the hammer down on some of these restrictions or some of these folks as well. And just as a broad perspective on this, the reason constitutional carry has made such a strong push in recent years in a number of states, South Carolina included, is really to bolster the Second Amendment. This idea that each of us have an individual right to protect ourselves against others who may wish us harm, but also against a government infringing on our rights has really taken hold. It's a great equalizer as well. But for women, for instance, have a great ability to be able to fight back against a much stronger man. And so the idea behind these things is just to make sure you don't have to go get a permit. You don't have to be licensed or tracked by the government in order to exercise your Second Amendment rights under the United States Constitution. Folks, these are some of the new rules that have taken place in the state of South Carolina. This applies, of course, in many, many states as well that have gone to the constitutional carry format. It doesn't apply in states that don't do that. But here's what you got to do. You got to consult your local statutes, a local attorney if you have questions about what's going on with constitutional carry or gun ownership, concealed weapons permits, and so forth in your individual state. If you happen to be in the state of South Carolina, these rules apply. We encourage you, if you have any questions, to contact our office. We're happy to talk to you. If you're outside of the state of South Carolina, I encourage you to contact local law enforcement or a local lawyer to try to better understand your rights. I am John Henderson, and this is HH Law.